shot.
Goes in.
Afro fighting in. 3-man pole, but Bjergsen with double still firing back. Big CC in the front side, and they're just melting. Oh my god.
Welcome to The Breakdown. I'm Zirene. This week, we're going to be looking at the final team fight between TSM and Counterlogic Gaming in Week 9 of the NALCS. And we're going to pay close attention to how CLG engage and how TSM's carries play around it. Because in this fight, every little thing matters. 51 minutes into the game, the gold is practically even. CLG clean up their base and prep for a game-deciding team fight, despite TSM having a 4 Drake Elder buff. While it looks like a bad fight to take, it's not going to get any better than this for CLG. Their inhibitors are coming back up, and the Baron is about to spawn. If CLG come out on top, they win the game, or at the very least, get back on the map by taking Baron and split pushing with Darshan's Fiora and his TP advantage. If CLG don't take a fight against TSM and they try to wait out the Elder Dragon buff, they're in danger of getting triple inhibbed, and they'd have to give over the Baron and map control to TSM. So instead of bleeding out, CLG go for the big play. Let's get into it. Aphromoo sets up a control ward right outside of his base gate to look for a flank with Alistar, and Huhi starts off the fight by placing a Weaver's wall that prevents TSM's retreat. As TSM's carries are clumped up, Aphromoo rushes in from the side with Talisman of Ascension and Righteous Glory. He uses Flash and Headbutt to close the distance, but accidentally headbutts Hauntzer's Maokai instead of Bjergsen's Corki. This allows Bjergsen to get a short distance with his Valkyrie before it gets interrupted by Aphramoo's Pulverize. Doublelift throws his Flame Choppers at the approaching CLG team to the left and flashes over the Weaver's wall to the right to avoid being caught in the CC chain. Omargod attempts to follow up on Aphramoo's engage, but he fails to hit Bjergsen. Omargod would have to use Body Slam and then Flash in order to make contact with Bjergsen's hitbox through Hauntzer's Maokai, but the placement of Doublelift's Flame Chompers prevent this. So he changes the order and uses Flash first and then Body Slam, which causes him to only hit Hauntzer. This is huge. As Huhi runs up to land an Unraveled Earth and Seismic Shove combo, Bjergsen isn't locked up and gets a moment to flash away, dodging all of Talia's damage as well as Omargod's explosive cask. TSM now want to take the team fight slowly as they no longer have flashes on both Doublelift and Bjergsen. CLG also want to take the fight slowly, but only temporarily, because they want to wait for their cooldowns to come back up before making another attempt on the backline. So now both teams begin focusing the enemy frontline. Svenskeren is the focus of all 3 of CLG's carries, so he uses Gargoyle, Stoneplate, and Locket to stay alive for as long as possible. On the opposite side of the fight, Aphromoo uses Unbreakable Will, but TSM aren't focusing. They turn onto Omargod, and he also blows his Gargoyle, Stoneplate, and Locket. As both tanks that are the focus retreat and drop below 200 HP, Omargod gets out, and TSM swap their focus from chasing to peeling. Biofrost throws up Unbreakable and blocks a volley from Stixxay and multiple auto attacks that would have killed Svenskeren. He also tags Darshan with concussive blows and exhausts him, barely allowing Svenskeren to escape, preventing the Grand Challenge from activating. TSM fall back, but CLG's key abilities are now off cooldown, so they can go for another attempt at the backline. But it gets desynchronized by the smallest of things. Huhi sets up an Unraveled Earth, and Aphromoo looks to headbutt Pulverize to keep TSM on top of the location that Huhi is casting Seismic Shove on. If it's successful, it would make for a 3 to 4 man combo. But Hauntzer's activation of Randuin's Omen delays Aphromoo ever so slightly from reaching his headbutt range until after Huhi's Seismic Shove has already gone off. This results in crowd control ending up on 2 different groups. Huhi's lands on the tanks, and Aphromoo's lands on the carries, but there's not any damage to follow that. Hauntzer jumps onto Stixxay to buy more time for his team to collapse onto Aphromoo, and also prevent CLG from following up on the Alistar combo. Despite Aphromoo no longer having his ultimate, he still makes it to safety and has the option to fully disengage, but turns around and exhausts Bjergsen. Both Hauntzzer and Aphromoo die, and CLG look to swap to Bjergsen. Stixxay lands a few hits and takes Bjergsen down to critical HP, forcing him to retreat with Valkyrie. But CLG get too hungry for TSM's low health bars, and they forget about double lift. Stixxay flashes forward on Corki, but ignoring double lift on Jinx is fatal, as TSM had learned themselves back in 2015. Usually when enemies are close to Jinx, it's best to switch to minigun and auto attack to increase your attack speed. But Jinx's rocket launcher has a specially coded interaction with Runan's Hurricane. Jinx's rockets explode, dealing splash damage to enemies in a 150 unit radius. And in Jinx's case, the Runan's Hurricane bolts also become rockets that share the special splash damage effect. This means targets that are close enough together take multiple instances of Jinx's splash damage. Here, Stixxay, Huhi, and Darshan are all clumped together, and a single attack from double lift results in 7 instances of damage on the CLG squad. Darshan takes 2 rocket splashes for 241 damage, Huhi also takes 2 splashes for 462 damage, and Stixxay takes 3 splashes for 919 damage. This one basic attack from double lift dealt 1,622 damage to CLG. CLG did not expect this sort of damage, and they start dropping like flies. Bjergsen also manages to get out a phosphorus bomb and missile barrage right before he dies to help Doublelift finish the fight. During this chaos, Doublelift still had the clarity to watch his positioning and dodges towards CLG to avoid Huhi's final attempt at landing a seismic shove combo. And now, the last remaining member of CLG in the fight is Darshan. Doublelift kites, traps, and finishes off Darshan, ending the fight 4 kills to 3 in favor of TSM. Looking back, this fight was incredibly close. CLG identified an opportunity to make a game-winning play instead of letting TSM slowly gain more advantages. And despite every member of TSM having an extra 225 true damage burn over 3 seconds, CLG almost won. This was a fight of inches. If Afromu's headbutt hits Bjergsen, if Doublelift doesn't place his Flame Chompers to change Omar's combo, if Doublelift and Bjergsen are hit by any of Huhi's seismic shoves, or if Hauntzer doesn't use his Randuin's Omen, the whole fight would have been very different. CLG's engage was expertly found, but TSM's carries and their navigation of the fight was better. TSM were able to clutch the win over CLG and take the series 2-0, ending the NALCS regular season of 2017 Summer in first place. Hey everyone, Zirene here. If you see a play that you think deserves a breakdown, tweet at me at LOLZirene and use the hashtag #TheBreakdown.